these African girls are trained in all this. It's all this sexual magic that African girls have. Boom! Wow! You blew my mind. I gotta marry you. I'm often very proud of you because you have a strong voice and you're confident, right?
Why are international men marrying Ugandan ladies, and does it have to do with sex?
Hi, babe.
Hey, babe.
How's your day?
My day was great.
You look beautiful.
Thanks, babe.
You're
You look
welcome.
handsome too.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are we doing today?
Today we are answering our first viewer's question.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, she's already from Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe.
She approached me on Instagram. She wanted some help from me, and I helped her. Then she later asked me a question that was kind of interesting. This is what she wrote me. She said, "But tell me, you Ugandan ladies, what do you do so that these white guys stick with you, even after enjoying the goodies?"
The
Okay, I
goodies,
see
huh?
most videos of African Bella, the issue of goodies when they visit, and still they will continue after the goodies. Do you go to those ritual ceremonies whereby girls at a younger age are taught how to do with their waist moving, the waist for the man to enjoy, or you do this pulling, blah, blah, blah? Okay, what's the magic? I really want to know also. I see most of them after the visit, the man will move the girl to a nice place, a flat. I saw also Helen and Daniel from Kenya and many others. What's the crew? Help me. So
Interesting.
yeah, what's your opinion?
Well, there's a lot of parts to that. So what part should I answer first?
Why are international men marrying Ugandan ladies, and does it have to do with sex?
Well, I mean, I don't. For me, that sex is not. Sex is something that I think it only gets better the better you know each other, right? So good
Yeah,
sex
that's
is being
right.
connected to your partner, right? Being in
Yeah.
love, the best sex is when you're in love, when you're really, when you really know each other, when you're really comfortable and relaxed around each other. I mean, it takes some time to
Yeah.
really get into, to really get into sync together and to really know what turns each other on and what each of us really like. So it's certainly, I really do think that good sex comes from a good relationship and comes from a good partnership and comes from, really feeling close to each other. So, to answer that, it only comes with time. It's not something that like, boom, wow, you blew my mind. I got to marry you, right? Like,
Yeah, that's right.
whether it's good or bad at the beginning, it's going to get better in time,
Yeah.
So I never put sex as any kind of a high, it doesn't even enter into the equation, right? It doesn't even enter into the things that I thought. I think that the reason, like we've talked about so much, and we'll talk about more, is that the qualities of women in, Africa are very different from, I'll say, like Western cultural values with how women are here, with how women are in other areas, right? Divorce is very high in the U.S., it's exceptionally high. The concept of, getting together for the purpose of a family, right? Like for me, getting together for the purpose of a family is the highest thing, right? I don't want to just date, and I don't want to marry someone or spend time with someone who we're not going after the same goals. So if, finding you, and from what I understand of other women in Africa and Uganda and elsewhere, if the goal there seems for you, it's always been for you, like, what do you want to be, Letty, what do you want to be? You want to be a mom, right? I mean, like that's,
Yeah.
that's what you want to be, you know. And after I had my son, you know, I knew that there was that I wanted to, you know, be in a relationship and a marriage that was going to have, you know, happiness and joy and more children. So that was what really, you know, caught my eye, you know. In the US, it's a lot of dating, and it's a lot, you know, people date, or people just kind of hook up. It's kind of hookup culture, right? It's just, you know, people have sex, but they really don't like each other. They don't love each other, or like, and that's just that's not a good way to be, in my opinion. That's not something that I feel is a positive thing. So for me, it was the long-term goals, right? I mean, that's why someone would marry someone, you know, is the long-term goals, the connection, the partnership that we share, right? Okay. So did that answer that? Good sex never hurts, but it's not, you know what I mean? That's icing on the cake. Good sex is icing on the cake, right? But if your cake, if there's nothing in your cake that is good for, you know, then you're not going to really enjoy it. Oh, it's just icing. That's, you know, you get tired of icing.
Yeah, but I think good sex is all about how you understand your partner's body, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the more you get connected to each other, the more you understand each other's body, and you know, like, I think you learn things together as a couple. So that's what makes good sex. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if a woman is really good in bed, now I will say this, I don't know a lot about. Part of her question was, I mean, I know a little bit about it I've from some of my research, but you know, how women are taught to move their hips. I'm not really sure about that, right? But other than being taught, I mean, sex isn't really taught here in the, you know, relationships isn't really taught here in the U.S. Parents aren't really teaching their kids, like, this is how a man should treat a woman. If a man isn't doing this, like, don't waste your time with him. I mean, there are parents who are doing that, but I don't know a lot of them, right? And like, for guys, we're not really taught, you know, what's right or what's wrong, or what makes a good woman, or, you know, here's what you should really look for, you know, in a wife or in a girlfriend, even, right? Before a wife, a girlfriend, right? But in general, you know, if a girl is really good at if a girl has a lot of moves in bed, right? If a girl really knows what she's doing in bed, you're kind of like, like, how did you figure that out, right? Like, we're not born knowing how to be, you know, great in bed. Where did that instruction come from? You know, and that's fine. Some guys, it doesn't really matter, you know, where a girl learned something great. If they love it, they love it, right? That's all that's important to them. But, you know, I think it's more about discovering things, you know, together. And that's fun. You know, that's part of the fun of it, getting better at things and understanding each other. And just the passion, too. I mean, the passion of like a really connected, loving kiss is such a turn on and so emotional, you know, as part of making love.
And I think that would be very helpful to most ladies out there who think like good sex is what makes Ugandan ladies get married to international men. Because there are women who are a bit older and maybe they have lacked confidence, where like they think, oh, these international men, they are going for these young girls because maybe they are good in bed, or maybe they are doing these moves or whatever. And
I think as a deeper, you go ahead, babe. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
It's okay. So when they get to know that sex is not a priority when it comes to international men, like they are looking for something more, especially like character.
I think that it's an easy thing. I mean, I think the reason, as kind of a deeper answer to this question is I think that people, when they see something that they don't necessarily understand, they might assume one thing, right? They might assume that has to be the reason why, right? I think in the U.S., even if people go, if you know, I think people might have the misconception, or people might have the wrong idea that, you know, oh, it's because these African girls they're trained in taboo, you know, they're trained in all this sexual magic, right? It's all this sexual magic that African girls have. You know, but I mean, men are marrying women from all. I mean, and women, you know, women are marrying men, and men are marrying women from all over the world, right? I mean, my
Yeah, that's
uncle
right.
my uncle is married to a Vietnamese woman, right? They have a wonderful son.
Mm-hmm.
He's traveled extensively in China, and he'd been married before, but two women from Caucasian women from America, and so I mean, it's a whole. I haven't asked him why he married, why he got married to his wife from Vietnam, but you know, it's definitely, I think it's just an easy thing for people to kind of jump on, right? They immediately just kind of jump on the idea of, okay, it must be the sex, right? What else could it be, right? It's just
Yeah,
kind of an easy thing to assume when really the answer is much deeper and kind of more complex.
that's right.
Okay, what's the next question, babe?
I think it's about visiting the bush. Did you know about that?
I didn't know about that before you and I started talking, but if you remember, I was doing some research, in that week period where, I said, okay, we're moving really fast. We haven't really told this whole story outside of Bella's channel, but things are
Yeah.
moving really fast, and I said, okay, like I need a break here. We need to take like a week for me to do, just to kind of figure things out, right? So we were
Yeah.
moving fast. We were falling in love fast, and that was, that was
Yeah.
very, it felt great, but it felt scary. I was a little scared. So I said, okay, let me just take a break. Let me do some research. That's the kind of guy I am. So while I was looking into it and researching it, I did find out a little bit about that. There's all kinds of different cultural things that are taught that different people, that different people like, or don't like. I learned a little bit about it from some videos, that it was something that was very common in different parts of Africa, and yeah, I remember us talking about it.
Different parts of Africa or Uganda?
I'm not 100% sure it's only Uganda. I don't know. Are there any other
Okay.
areas of Africa that do it? I'm not sure. I know that in some other parts of Africa, there are other customs where women use the rings to elongate their necks, right? You haven't
What?
seen that? They use rings, metal rings, to elongate their necks.
Oh, I think I've seen that though. I don't know which country.
There's so in the world, there's so many different things that are done, unfortunately, often to women, to make them appear more beautiful. In China, there was a ritual custom for foot binding. It was where women would have very petite feet, so they would bind their feet with fabric to keep their feet very, very small, like a child. And that was just a cultural thing that they did for a long time. I don't think it's done anymore, at least not that I know. But I mean, beauty is, cultural beauty is something that, that evolves, with a culture, and it becomes very common and very practiced within it. I think that I think that, I don't like a lot of like changes to how you kind of naturally are, right? So,
Yeah.
when we talked about it and you said that you hadn't done that, I said that's good. I wouldn't want you to alter yourself. I mean, we all alter ourselves, right? I mean, we dress up, we try to look nice and smell nice, but I wouldn't want you to feel like you had to have, you know, um, plastic, surgery to look beautiful, right? I love you the way that you are, the
Yeah.
way that I love you the way that God created you, right? But that doesn't mean that, that's someone who, you know, um, there are men who like all kinds of different things in the world, right?
Yeah.
Some men want really large breasts, right? And if a woman wants to have surgery to have that, that's fantastic, right? So for every for every woman out there, there's a man who, finds her to be perfect, right? It's just about finding your perfect person, right?
Okay, when you got to know about this polling thing, what came into your mind when you made your research? Of course, like you made a research about my tribe and whatever. When you got to know about it, what came into your mind?
I thought it was very interesting. I was wondering kind of where it came from. I was wondering, I was wondering if it was still, really frequently done. I wonder how cultural things like that kind of come to be. I wonder what kind of, would it pleasure a man more? I don't know that it would pleasure me more if you had, extended your labia.
Yeah, actually, there is something interesting. I remember when I was 20,
Mm-hmm.
my aunt asked me, she was like, have you ever pulled? My auntie from my dad's side, she
Sure.
asked me, have you ever pulled? I was like, no. She was like, what? A girl at your age, you've never pulled? I was like, yeah, I haven't. She was like, I wonder even the man who will marry you.
I mean, if it's that's a strong statement. That's a very strong statement. Why do you think that your mom didn't bring that up with you? Why do you think your mom didn't mention it? Or is it actually? I read that it's commonly the aunt who
Yeah,
it's
the
commonly a
auntie,
family member, not the mother, who brings it up. So
because mothers are always shy about it because that's your own daughter. I mean, some mothers, yes, they talk to their daughters about it, but most mothers are always shy about it. They are
okay,
always shy about it, so they always send their daughters to aunties,
the
and the
auntie.
aunties are always,
Okay, I
their
mean, it makes a
responsibility.
certain kind of sense. I mean, in the U.S., in the U.S., when you're talking about sex or who teaches the kids about sex and stuff like that, like there are parents, I'm 100% sure, who are great parents who talk to their kids about sex, extensively.
Yeah,
Like I plan to have like a ton of conversations with Cannon. Like he's gonna know so much by the time he starts, dating. Um, so I think it's really healthy to do it. But in the U.S., it's like parents don't do it, aunts and uncles don't do it. You're just kind of figuring it out on
yeah,
your own. You know what I mean? And for young guys, a lot of that education in the U.S. comes from watching, watching porn, watching adult entertainment, watching things on the internet, which is not a healthy, kind of a picture. There, I mean, there's some porn that's very, it's like a couple, right? A couple in love, right? But a lot of it is very, you know, it's not something that you would want to ever learn or try to, treat a woman, that way. Um, so when you said no, what did your auntie, how did your auntie take it? Your auntie was surprised, right?
she was surprised that at my age I had not done it, and of course I told her it's not something I really want to ever do in my entire life. Like it's
Hmm.
not something I really love doing. I know it is something that most girls do, especially like in some cultures, in some tribes here in Uganda. Uh, and of course, even girls from my tribe, they do the pulling.
Hmm.
But for me, it's something I never felt like I should do. Like I mean, even at school, girls would do it, but I never felt like let me even try. Like I never felt that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when we met and I talked to you about it, and I remember you said you don't like them, right?
I mean, I'm glad that I think that you're perfect the way that you are, right? Like I think that
Yeah,
you're
and
perfect the way you are.
when I asked you and you said like you don't like them, then I was happy because
Right.
I was
If
like
you
at
had
least
if you had done it, I wouldn't. If you had done it, it wouldn't change how I feel about you or how I think about you or how attracted I am to
yeah.
you. It wouldn't change anything like that. But, I just don't think that things that people need to change so many things about themselves to be,
Yeah.
you know, perfect, to be better. But, you know, um, but we all do it. I mean, we all wear, we try to, dress up and shave a certain way, I mean, we're all changing things for beauty. So I think there's a lot of men. There is some. I think I've never talked to any of my male friends about it, but I think that it is a common thing for a lot of guys to like that. To like, you know, I think some guys do like would enjoy that or would like that or would find that to be sexy. Um,
Is it something that is done in America?
I've
I
never
mean,
heard of anything like that being done in America. No. Um,
okay, I thought
but I
so.
mean, for everybody, I mean, there's so much in America that I don't know about. I mean, there's so much, you know. There's so many different. See, I mean, like sexual things like that aren't really talked about, publicly. If you're into that, if guys are into that or like that kind of a thing, you'd never know, right? If I met a guy's girlfriend, I'd never know, if you know what I mean. It's an interesting thing. What about you? When you've talked to other girls about it, in your friends and whatnot, how many of them do you think have done it, or how many of them? What's their opinion on it?
I think most of my friends have done it, and it is something that it is here in Uganda. It is something very normal for girls to talk about because it's something
It's
normal,
common. Yeah, common.
Yeah, it's very common. So most of my friends have done it, but I don't know why I never tried it. So
It's
yeah,
interesting.
and
That's
it's
interesting.
it's something they are proud of. It is something they love, and
Good. Then they should be proud of it. I mean, if it's something a woman, if you feel proud of something, then you should be proud of it, right? It's a good that you're proud of the fact that you didn't, right? You're proud that
yeah,
I'm proud of you that you made a choice that was your own choice, right? I'm proud of the fact that you had your own. I'm often very proud of you because you have a strong voice, and when you choose something, you say that you want to do it or you don't want to do it, and you're confident, right? So that's a
yeah.
really, that was really, important to me, because, going against some things that our parents or our elders, want us to do can be a good thing, right? I'm a little bit of a rebel myself, right? So I, I have my own opinions on things, and I like to, you know, you know what I mean? Okay, babe. So what's
Yeah,
next?
and
Go ahead.
I think I think this lady from Zimbabwe, I think it was in her mentality that maybe Ugandan girls they do this pulling or the West thing that makes these men marry them, and I want to send her a message that that's not true. I think you know it's not what makes men marry women. Just
I think if a man or a woman asked, in the U.S., they wouldn't know about those things, right? They wouldn't know about, being trained to move your hips in a certain way, or visiting the bush. They wouldn't know about that, but they would still potentially think, okay, this might be about sex, right? It might be about, it might be about sex, it might be a sexual thing that is leading this. So I think that the question would be the same. The fact that that our view the viewer who reached out to you knew more about it and kind of just connected the things together, right? And I mean, also that's what you're taught. I mean, you're taught that that doing that is supposed to be more pleasing to the man.
babe, what is your advice um to people who have the same mentality of why international men marry African women, marry Ugandan women?
For me, the qualities that I was looking for were qualities that I found being talked about in Africa, right? So the first thing that really caught my eye and kind of clued me into thinking about international dating was when I was reading, I was in the dating, in the US, when you're going through dating profiles, there's not a lot about, like, women aren't talking about their long-term plans. They're not talking about, like, I want to get married, I want a serious relationship. They're just kind of talking about, like, the things that they like, the things that the things that they enjoy, right? And there's not a lot of, like, no one is really putting out there what they want in the future, right? That's not really being talked about. Sometimes someone will talk about, I want a man who's, tall or successful or, whatever, kind of something about their partner. But when I flipped over into international dating, it was very clear that there were some big differences, because some of the first profiles that I read were like, I'm not interested in short-term dating, right? In the US, everything is short-term dating until it maybe turns into long-term dating, right? Sometimes it's not even dating. Sometimes it's just going out, having fun, maybe going home together. If that turns, in the US, it's like sex comes first, a relationship is like it comes later, if at all, right? It,
Oh,
like, maybe, right? So the fact that so many profiles in international dating was very clear. You know, I'm not looking for short term. I'm looking for a man who wants to get married. I want to be a mother. I'm looking for a good man who's going to be a great dad, right? Immediately I was like, what is this? I was like, what's going on here? You know, this is not something that I'm reading anywhere else, you know? And that was really impressive to me. And then the more I started kind of looking into it and learning more, it became much clearer how, you know, the priority is for women to get married. And there's a certain pressure for it, right? Obviously, you know, women feel a certain pressure. In the U.S., there's no pressure. And I don't think any woman should feel pressured to get married. Women who want to pursue a career, you know, and maybe put family, you know, not as a priority right now, that's great. That's a decision that they want to make. But, you know, I didn't want to just date anymore. I wanted to find someone to be with, you know, to be in a committed relationship, to share the same goals, to work towards those goals, and those goals be having a family, getting married forever, you know, growing old together, all those things. And you know, international dating profiles were just completely different. So that was what really caught my eye, that degree of, you know, of commitment, of togetherness, of, you know, the priority being something really being my priority, right? I mean, and there's a lot of guys who aren't like me. There's a lot of guys who would just love to, you know, go out and date and have something be, you know, casual and see if it turns into a relationship, right? But I mean, for me, that's not, and that they wouldn't work with international dating, right? If a guy's not really serious, there's no way international dating is going to work, right? So I know that I'm a serious guy, and if other guys are serious about wanting the same goals and wanting to get to the same destination, then it makes sense to look at international dating as a very good opportunity to find a really great woman to, you know, to have that kind of a life with. So I don't think, I mean, you know, people are going to make their own decisions about the sex part of it, right? About what else there is. But for me, when you look at what's the most important thing, it's that you have the same goals, you have the same wants, you have the same desires, and that is the basis for a relationship. That's the foundation for a relationship.
Yeah.
And everything else is just extra, you know, extra elements that are put on top of that just make that a happy home, right? So have the foundation, and then, you know, the sex will get better.
That's right.
Right? Or the sex will
Yeah.
be, or the sex was great from the, you know what I mean? It's not even about, you know, it's that can all come and go, you know, but the person that you're with is gonna be with you, you know, for life, and be your partner, be your wife, be your husband. People haven't seen
Yes.
me on camera except with Canon in a long time, right? And here we are making a video. You know, we believe in you has been dormant for, you know, forever.
Yeah, and if you are watching and you have other things you are wondering about, please ask in the comment section below, and we shall be answering more and more of your questions. So, otherwise, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video. And babe,
Yes, my
give
love.
some last words for the viewers.
We're
You know,
excited to do more of these. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful that she sent in a question, and if we can help others to answer these things and understand and learn more about everything about international dating, then, you know, that's wonderful. We would love to do that, right?
yeah, we would
Okay.
love to do that.
I love
You know,
you.
and love it. But babe, let me ask you a question on behalf of the viewers.
Okay.
People are asking, what happened to We Believe in You?
It's coming. It's
There
coming.
are no videos.
It's
What's up?
I gotta, you know, I had a lot to learn about editing, and I were swimming in footage, and there's lots of stories and adventures that are getting ready to come
Yeah,
on We Believe in You. It's just
yeah,
I'm an overworked man. I need help. Right?
that's right. Actually, recently there is a lady who commented. She was like, "This channel is getting boring. When are you guys uploading?" I laughed, but
People got to
guys,
wait for the
don't
sequel
worry.
sometimes, right? I mean, there's movies that come out, and then people have to wait years to see the next,
Yes,
the sequel, right? I mean, I'm working on it, right? I'm one guy. It's
yes.
this is why you started editing, on your own, right? And I'm so proud of you
Mhm.
for, learning editing, learning how to shoot videos, us giving each other
That's
feedback on
right.
things. I'm very proud of you for launching this channel and accomplishing as much as you have. It's obviously not you who's slow. You're quick. You're getting stuff done. I'm over here,
But of course, you also help me. You know, you always guide me. You did this wrong. I think you can improve it better.
you
I
did this
think
wrong.
you always
I,
guide me on every video. By the way, every video I put out, guys, he's the first person to watch it, and he guides me. He's like, you need to improve on this, and every time I improve, it's my boyfriend who's always behind this improvement I do
yeah.
every day. So
It's
I'm
good to have that
humbled, like,
feedback in a relationship, right? I mean, we are working on our dreams. We are both pursuing we're both creating, we're both very creative people, and we're both creating
yeah,
things that we're very proud of, right? I've had a lot of jobs in my life. I mean, I've only had one real career in my life, which is, doing computers and servers and networking, for large companies. And I'm very good at what I do, but I can't say that I'm really proud of the things that I do. I'm very proud of the things that we're making. I'm very proud of the creativity and the stories that we're getting ready to tell, and helping others and developing our own style and our own voice, and these are great things, right? So I think it's very exciting, and I'm very proud of us working together on it, right? That was one of my first criteria, right? I wanted to be with a woman who I could work with, and even
and
though
I
this
think that
isn't,
was
it was yours
my
too,
goal. That
right? I asked you,
yeah,
would you want to
yeah,
work with the man that you're married to, right? And you were absolutely, right? That's a dream. That was a dream come true for you, just like it is for me. I didn't think that we'd be working on it remotely so much. I thought we'd be working on it together, more, but that'll get figured out too. Okay, babe?
yes, babe.
Okay.
So, and I think that gives more hope to our subscribers, to our rare subscribers, that we are bringing more content on We Believe in You very soon. So, guys, just keep alert. Anytime
Right.
something comes,
We're here.
right?
We want our real fan. If you're a fake fan, if you're a fan who like subscribes and then you're like, I'm going to unsubscribe from this because, then you got to be a real fan. Because those, the people who are with
Yeah,
us from the beginning, those are our real supporters, right?
yeah. Not those who just
Commitment.
subscribe
We got
and
to be
then because
committed to us.
yeah, you
We're
have to be
committed
a
to you.
committed subscriber. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's all we had for today. Otherwise,
Mwah.
bye.
Bye.